Hey kids, and welcome back to Not Another Musical Podcast. I'm your host, Allie Teeples.
And I'm Mark Torres.
And this week, we are breaking down the musical Amelie.
Amelie, yeah.
Yeah.
First, tell me about your week, man.
Okay.
Mine sucked.
I got a job.
What?
Yeah.
How cool you are.
You know, I've been princessing for 5 years. It's time to hang up the tiara.
I think it.
Are you eating back there, stage manager?
No.
It's hard to get a job during Rona. That's dope.
Yeah, I'm happy to introduce some stability and routine to my life. I needed the comfort of a 9-to-5 job.
Yeah,
and
you're gonna hate it, honestly.
Yeah,
but it's good.
It's good because this right now during the unfortunate circumstance, it's 3 days in the office and 2 days at home. So.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah. So
I went into the office yesterday for the first time since I got sent home March 12th or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because we got new computers, and so we had to go in the office to pick up our new computers, and it was like the first time that I remember putting on socks in months. Literally
I can
months.
Hard relate.
Yeah. Right?
I wear these slip-on Converse every day, and I never wear socks with them.
I've been in flip-flops since March, man.
Oh.
and I'm just like, oh, dude, I have to put socks on. So I kind of felt like a human again.
Yeah. It's weird, right?
I did the whole thing where I put shoes on and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Just to go into the office for 20 minutes, pick up a computer, and come back home.
I went on a picnic with a friend of mine a week or so ago,
mm-hmm.
and I don't remember putting on real clothes to go out in public.
Yeah,
forever.
Yeah,
I breathe the outside air.
It's an odd thing.
Yeah. So.
But that's cool, man.
Yeah.
And then the real reason my week sucked was I somehow had a really stressful day at work a week ago yesterday, and my neck got fully spasmed, hard as a rock. I could only look straight forward. I've been on muscle relaxers for a week. I've gone to the chiropractor several times, which I had never done before, acupuncture, and I barely started to be able to move today. And today is Friday. It's a full 8 days later. So
I hope my chiropractor rep helped.
Yeah. No, he's
rec, not
yeah.
rec.
I mean,
I'm hot.
Yeah,
it's hot in here.
It is toasty in here. But anyway, so that's why my week sucked. But but your news is rad. I'm proud of you.
No, but I'm glad that your neck's getting better. That's good news for you too.
I know
it's been a while.
And I was gonna be bummed if I couldn't come and do this tonight. So
yeah.
So let's make it a good one.
Yeah.
Huh, Amelie? Let's make it a good one.
Oh yeah.
Places, everyone.
Thank you, Places.
The curtain's up.
The seats are full.
It's not another musical.
They say times are hard for dreamers, but they won't be hard for me when all my dreams have gone as planned. I can see who's falling down, and though they do not see me, I am reaching out my hand.
All right, everyone. So before we begin, we just want to give you a disclaimer. We are not musical theater critics. We are just two musical theater nerds with strong opinions. You can agree with our opinions. You could disagree with our opinions. It's okay. We all have opinions.
Yep. And we're happy you're here anyway.
Yes. So without further ado, let's get into the musical of the week, Amelie. So we're going to hop into our musical theater time machine.
We don't need much gas in our time machine.
We do not, guys. Strap in. Because we're going all the way back to the year 2015.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you want to know what's happening?
Tell me. Take me back. I don't remember 2015.
So, big deal that year was Deflategate.
Oh,
it's where Tom Brady was accused of using underinflated balls during the AFC Championship game against the Indianapolis Colts.
Tom Brady is an underinflated ball.
Wow. We're stirring up a lot of controversial opinions, guys.
These are musical theater people. They don't care about football.
They're like, Tom Brady, who's that?
Yeah, who's that?
A record-breaking blizzard hit the Boston area, hitting 72 inches in some places, and the snow was continuing to melt well into the month of June.
I remember that.
Mm-hmm. Mark Ronson's Uptown Funk featuring Bruno Mars hit #1 in January and stayed relevant the entire year.
That song was so dumb. Like, it was just so dumb. And everybody sent it to me because everybody knows that I hate pop music, and I have hated pop music since I came out
Because
of the
it
womb.
was what it was.
And it, the problem with the song isn't, the song is catchy as hell.
Mhm.
Rhythm is nice, beat is nice, everything. Like it has that nice funky sound that we haven't heard since the 70s. It's just the stupidest lyric I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
And
Uptown Funk
oh
you up.
my God, it was just so dumb. And
Yeah.
then like you heard it every goddamn day at karaoke. Every goddamn day.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
You would hear it sometimes if you got to karaoke early enough, you could hear it twice in a night.
I was with you.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus Christ. Thank
I know.
God.
No, I was over it immediately.
Immediately. Yeah.
The internet was divided over the infamous blue and black dress versus white and gold dress. Did you ever that picture of the dress?
No.
Where people saw it as like two different
No,
combinations
I've seen
of
the
colors?
shoe. I've seen the shoe.
What?
The Vans shoe. If there's a Vans old school shoe, and you
Oh.
either see it in pink or you see it in blue.
That came after the dress.
Okay.
It's kind of like that Yanny and Laurel
Do
thing.
you want to know what? I think it actually has to do with the lighting of the room you're in, because
It does.
the Vans shoe, I've seen both colors.
Me too.
Yeah.
So with the dress, it looked white and gold because it was so washed out, but it's actually a blue and black dress.
Okay.
I'll have to show it to you later.
All right.
Yeah. Leonard Nimoy passes away, the man who originated the role of Spock in Star Trek.
I didn't know he was dead.
Oh, surprise.
Sad.
Well, we're in 2015, so it just happened.
Oh yeah, it just happened.
Yeah,
Oh,
you're
that's
okay.
Unfortunate.
Net neutrality. We won the fight to keep the internet fair and neutral, not allowing large companies to give preferential deals to, companies like Netflix or
Bookface.
to control internet speeds, and it's good. It's a good thing.
Okay. Okay.
The Apple Watch hit the shelves.
Word.
The Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao fight happened that year, the huge one.
Yeah.
So
that
they
was-
both hit the ring, with Mayweather taking the championship, but the title was later stripped from him in July because he didn't pay the $200,000 sanctioning fee.
Stop.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, interesting, huh?
Yeah.
Same-sex marriage is legalized nationwide.
Word.
9 years and 3 billion miles later, we finally reached Pluto.
Wow.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
And that was after we said it wasn't even a planet anymore. So was it even an accomplishment?
I think it was denounced as a planet
Way before that.
way before that.
Yeah.
Before they even started. I think they just wanted, there's cliffs and valleys and things on Pluto that they really wanted to get a closer look at, and so
Like scouting for film scenes or something?
yeah. So
Okay.
if anybody wanted to take the trip for 9
Princess
years,
Bride 2, The Cliffs of Despair.
yeah, Pluto's Cliffs of Despair.
I like it.
And then that was the year of the Starbucks Red Cup fiasco for the holidays, where
They made
people-
a Christmas cup and people got mad.
no, they stripped it of holiday theming to be more inclusive to like all religions,
Right.
and people got really pissed off that they were
Right.
disrespecting Christmas.
It's fucking coffee, dude.
It's a fucking cup, is what it's not even coffee.
It's
a cup.
It's $5 coffee.
It's a cup.
Like, who gives a shit?
Also, people that didn't even like Starbucks were mad about that. So dumb. I don't even care. Okay, so the cost of living. This is a long time ago.
Okay.
Okay. But this first one made me go, okay, where? Cost of a house. Guess what it told me for nationwide.
5 years ago?
Yeah, for nationwide.
See, it's because it's nationwide.
Yeah,
It's
because I was like, where?
it's not like, okay,
But this is average. This is what blew my mind.
I'm
Okay.
going to say that it would say 250.
Oh, 270.
Yeah, there's no way.
But I was like-
that's in the middle of a cornfield in Missouri.
In misery.
Yeah, like literally that was my instinct. If that's in the middle of a cornfield in Missouri, that's where you can get a house for that much money.
Nebraska.
Yeah, Nebraska. Yes.
In Wisconsin, just
Yeah.
fielding the cheese.
Yeah, in Tulsa you can get 2 houses for that price.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay. Tulsa. We're alienating
I'm
our
sorry,
face.
guys. I'm sorry.
We're just jealous.
Yeah,
That's what it boils
Yeah,
down to.
seriously.
The median income was $51,759,
Okay.
which is yeah, totally. I feel like that's still true. And you know what was really depressing is that I got these facts from a site that compared the 1975 cost of living to this.
Okay.
And in 2015 money, the median income was actually $55,000.
Stop.
Yeah. So, to all the older generations who say, like, you guys make so much more now, you're not accounting for inflation, my dudes. And then the price of the house was like twice as much.
Right,
The price of the
course.
car was twice as much.
Right.
So
Okay.
it's just crazy.
Oh, Lord.
Car.
Am I guessing?
Yeah.
Average again? Because like you
yes.
can get a Honda Civic for
No.
$18,000.
Average price of a new car.
Okay, so like on the cheap end, 18.
Mm-hmm.
On the expensive end, 100 grand.
Uh-huh.
But fewer people buy those.
You have more cheap cars on the market than luxury that are sold.
Yeah, that's true. But if I were to average it, I'd say 55.
31,252.
That was really, really off.
Minimum wage was $8.25 an hour, which I can't even fathom doing anything for $8 for an entire hour of my time. I know that sounds.
I would sleep for $8.
Oh, well, for sure.
Right?
I mean, I would do nothing.
Yeah.
That's what but like doing something is what I mean.
Oh. Yeah, there's the rub.
Yeah. Like that's so unfair, right?
Well, I mean,
It's crazy.
stay in school, people.
Yeah. Milk, $3.49 a gallon,
Okay.
which I feel like is what I
I only
now-
drink Choco milk. I want that on the
It's
record.
more expensive.
Milk
'cause
is
of the
disgusting,
chocolate.
but chocolate
There's
milk.
a lot less chocolate cows.
Chocolate milk is awesome.
And then eggs were $2.08 a dozen.
Okay.
Okay, so I counted those things because I've been doing them like every time. But do you know how stupid I felt Googling the cost of milk in 2015? Who asks that?
Well, not
Hey, I
another
wonder how
musical
much
podcast
milk was
asks
5
that.
years ago.
Yeah.
Okay. So popular musicians at the time. Taylor.
Wait, let me go ahead and say that I don't like any of these people before you read those names.
You actually do.
Damn it.
Yeah. Taylor Swift.
Okay.
Ed Sheeran.
That's the one you always make me listen to. That one's nice.
Maroon 5.
I don't know who that is.
It's the Sunday morning one. Sunday morning rain is falling. Nope. Okay. Adele.
Oh, she sings pretty songs.
She
Yeah.
released 25 that year. Her album 25.
Okay.
Bruno Mars.
Yeah.
And Ariana Grande, the girl who played Penny Pingleton.
Oh, right.
Uh-huh.
I haven't ever heard any of her music, but
So, in keeping with the theme, notable births of 2015, even though they're 5 now, the one that I found to be of
how could you find a notable birth? How did they have notoriety if it's been 5 years?
Prince William and Kate Middleton's daughter Charlotte was
But
born.
that's not. They're not famous. Their parents are.
Yeah, I know, but I had to find one birth.
Okay.
But they are 5 now.
Half credit. Half credit.
Notable deaths. Double-sided print.
Yeah.
We have Leonard Nimoy. Same.
Okay.
Scott Weiland of Stone Temple Pilots.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That guy's a dick.
Yeah, he is. Sorry about it. Well, okay, so little departure because we didn't have a whole lot of banter this week, but this is actually a good short story. So when my dad and his friend Nate were in college, his friend Nate dated Scott Weiland's ex-girlfriend.
Okay.
And he was very, very jealous of Nate for dating his ex-girlfriend. So when he got drunk one day, he left like this angry, screaming voicemail on Nate's answering machine talking
Okay.
about how he was gonna like beat his ass and all this stuff, and he
Yeah.
kept it forever because
Oh, fun.
it was Scott Weiland.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Okay.
What a fun little souvenir, right?
Yeah.
Also, he yells
I
at
like
the
that.
audience all the time.
Yeah, he did. Christopher Lee of all of those horror movies. You would know him if you saw his face.
Okay. I'll trust you.
Wait,
BB.
no, you're missing one. It's Christopher Lee of Lord of the Rings, a.k.a. Saruman.
Okay. BB King.
That's sad.
Yeah.
That's very sad.
Natalie Cole, Nat King Cole's daughter.
Yeah, I remember that.
Robert Loggia
Don't know who that is.
and Yogi Berra.
Oh man, he made it a long time, Yogi Berra.
So, do you want to tell us about I do the synopsis first, yes?
No, let's do some history.
Okay.
There's not much here, guys. I don't know if it's because, well, we're not gonna preface anything. Amelie is a musical based on the 2001 romantic comedy film of the same name. Music by Daniel Messi of the indie folk Americana band Hem, H-E-M. Never heard of them.
Never heard of it.
The lyrics are by the same Daniel Messi and Nathan Tyson, who collaborated on Revival, Dreamland, Tuck Everlasting, The Burnt Part Boys, Fugitive Songs, and The Mysteries of Harris Burdick. Those are all musicals. I had only heard of Tuck Everlasting.
We don't have any of these.
Yeah,
on
those
the
need to go on the list. So the list just grew.
No.
Yeah. And he also has TV credits for Sesame Street and Elmo's World. Yeah.
La 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 la.
Yeah.
La 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 la.
The book of the musical is by Craig Lucas, who worked on The Light in the Piazza and An American in Paris.
Nice.
Yeah, that's some solid work there. Amelie premiered at the Berkeley Repertory Theater in Berkeley, California in September of 2015. The musical opened on Broadway at the Walter Kerr Theater with previews on March 9th, 2017. It opened officially April 3rd, 2017, and closed May 21, 2017.
Okay.
Not very long.
So that's how long?
I have the number of performances as 27 previews, 56 regular performances. So yeah, not good.
Yikes.
So the Berkeley Repertory Theater production was directed by Pam McKinnon. It starred Samantha Barks in the role of Amelie. It had scenic and costume design by David Zinn, lighting design by Jane Cox and Mark Barton, and projections by Peter Negrini. I only wrote that down because I remember after watching it thinking that it could be improved with projections, but I don't remember if it had projections.
There is a scene that I'll talk about later. That where I.
That's the only reason I wrote that down. So let's talk about that later.
Yeah.
Los Angeles. So the musical opened at the Amundsen Theater in Los Angeles in a pre-Broadway engagement, running from December 4 of 2016 to January 15 of 17, with Philippa Sue taking over as the role of Amelie.
Departing from Hamilton, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. That would have been. Hammy was like 15, right?
Yeah.
So this was probably
2 years into the run.
her follow-up project. So Broadway was at the Walter Kerr. It was under the direction of Pam McKinnon, with musical staging and choreo by Sam Pinkleton, puppet designed by Amanda Villalobos, and again, 27 previews, 56 regular performances.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty much it. Then there were international productions. So Japan, we had the Galaxy Theater in Tokyo for 2 weeks in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Then it moved to the Morinomiya Piloti Hall, Osaka, for 1 weekend. That production used a new staging and was translated into Japanese by Shigai Tsu. Then we had a Deutsch production, 2019, under the title Die fabelhafte Welt der Amelie, The Fabulous World of Amelie. This is the German European premiere in Munich, February 19. It doesn't say for how long.
Okay.
At the Work 7 Theater. UK production was 19 to 20, which it premiered at the Watermill Theater in Newbury, ran for 5 weeks before embarking on a United Kingdom tour. That production is noted for using the actor Musso approach, where the actors themselves provide the musical accompaniment. Kind of like Buddy that we just saw.
And like Once?
Yes,
right?
and like Once.
Mm-hmm.
Once was the first time I saw that, so I really thought it was cool. I feel like the more and more I'd see it, I would probably think it was kitschy. It would have to work.
Once,
you know what I mean?
Once had very like mixed reviews from people, but I thought it was very magical.
I thought that part was really cool though.
Mm-hmm.
That element with all the musicians,
I enjoyed Once.
I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
The production made its London debut at the Other Palace, November of 19 until Feb 2020. The show was favorably reviewed, the UK production. Finnish production 2019. The musical will have its premiere in Finland in Turku City, September of 2019. Australian production 2020. This one got put on hold. Was scheduled at the Darlinghurst Theatre, Sydney, New South Wales. Production has been postponed due to the impact of Miss Rona. Production will have the same actor-musician casting approach as the 2019 UK production. That's the one where they're playing their instruments on stage.
Right.
And then Netherlands has a projection for 2021 to 2022. Dutch language version of the musical will be performed as a national tour in the Netherlands 2021-2022.
Okay.
That's all I've got. There's really not that much for this.
Any accolades?
Well, we'll get to accolades. That's
indeed.
So let's do synopsis.
Okay. So a young girl grows up in France with two parents who are paranoid people in their own right. So she kind of like craves closeness from her father, but her father is always worried about her health. And he's always giving her checkups, and that's kind of the only physical contact she ever
Yeah,
has
he's a
with her dad.
germaphobe, right?
He is,
Yeah.
incredibly. And then her mother is just kind of like paranoid about everything. She's a germaphobe, but she doesn't like, loud sounds. She's like just that kind of just
Neurotic.
yes,
Yeah.
incredibly. So she kind of takes to her own imagination for friends.
Yep.
There was a super funny scene where she has a fish, and that's kind of her first friend, and then he's always trying to jump out of the bowl, and so they end up putting him in the creek.
Yeah. So
and
the fish was supposed to be her friend because they're homeschooling her.
Yeah.
Because they don't want her. They think she has a heart condition.
Yes.
And so they don't want her exposed. It's very Bubble Boy. Do you realize that it's very Bubble Boy?
It's very Bubble Boy.
Except that Bubble Boy's good.
Oh my gosh. Don't tell him too quickly. So the thing that happens is the reason why they think she has a heart condition is because every time her father takes out a stethoscope and puts it to her heart, she gets so excited that her dad's giving her affection that her heart starts racing.
Right.
It leads to eventually Amelie attends church with her mother, and as they're walking out of the church one day, her mother gets crushed by a person jumping to their death.
Yeah. So that was like a trip they took because she was sad that they made her get rid of the fish.
Yeah, so she was praying for a boy, a son.
Uh-huh.
And then she gets crushed by a person
that jumped off
a building.
Cathedral, right?
So, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So she returns home to her father, and she grows up with a father who is very kind of detached, and
he kind of becomes a
hermit, recluse of sorts.
Like he doesn't really want to ever leave, right? Like
right.
Yeah.
So as soon as she's 18, she leaves home. She moves to Paris, and she starts working at Café des Deux Moulins.
Okay.
Which that is not a very good French accent, but what that means is Cafe of the Two Windmills.
Word. Okay.
And she kind of keeps to herself. She's still very reserved. And one day she's in her apartment, and it's done two different ways. So in the movie, it's behind a bathroom tile on the baseboard.
Yeah.
But in the show, it's in the baseboard. She pulls out an old tin box from the 50s that the tenant from the 50s had put there. Mm-hmm. And there's a watch and some photographs,
like a toy car.
And just little mementos. She calls it, a treasure, and she wants to return this treasure. She makes it her mission to find the person that owns this, because that was the time when Princess Diana had died. So she gets very inspired about the story of Princess Diana.
Finds the box right when she finds out that Lady Di died.
Yeah, she's very affected by that, and she makes it her life's work to be like Lady Diana and to dedicate her life to making others happy in small ways.
Yeah.
So she kind of goes on this long adventure to find the man who lived there and who had put it in the baseboard.
Yes.
And she eventually finds him, and it makes him so happy that she decides to do other things to make people happy too.
Yeah.
The most significant is a man who collects discarded photos from different like little photo booths around train stations around the city. And the minute she sees him, she like falls in love with him. Yeah. And being the reserved person that she is, she gets afraid to talk to him. Mm-hmm. So she kind of she's kind of, hesitant. She notices, though, that one day he runs out, leaving his photo book behind of all of his discarded photos. So she takes him on like this kind of wild goose chase to get it back. Yeah. And eventually she has him where she wants him in the cafe. She gets too afraid to talk to him. He chases her back up to her apartment, and she finally gets the courage to open the door with help from her neighbor who paints and watches her through the spyglass. It's all very convoluted.
It is very convoluted.
But so she ends up living happily ever after, and there's a whole thing. We'll kind of talk about the breakdown too, but her father ends up, really taking a likeness to this gnome that her mother always hated, and Amelie gives him to a flight attendant and sends him around the world and sends him back pictures of this gnome in different places. There's a lot of storylines going on at once, but these are the kinds of things that she does for people. Yeah. So it's interesting. Yeah.
And I think we mixed elements of in the synopsis of
I tried
both movie and show.
I tried
but
to
that's
I
actually
actually didn't mention elements that weren't in the show.
Yeah.
So there was this whole thing with like her neighbor and the letters that wasn't in the show. I didn't even mention that.
Well, It's in a song, but it's okay.
Okay, guys.
Yeah.
Here's the meat and potatoes of
Here-
what we're trying to say.
Here you go. So
We didn't like it.
First. So let's talk characters, right? So let's talk about
Okay.
characters. So we have Amelie, right? Obviously,
Yeah.
you already explained who she is, and we have a young Amelie, right? 'Cause she
Yes.
comes out a couple times. She comes out at the
She
beginning,
comes
but then she
out-
comes out.
A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got Nino. That's the guy that
Uh-huh.
collects the photo book. He works in a sex shop, which is like just
It's a video pornography store.
yeah. It's like so weird to me. Like I don't know. Like,
On the stage,
I just
it
thought
was weird.
Yeah, on the stage it was weird. I think in the movie it was like kind of funny, you know?
We'll talk about this like break by break. I would like to, since there's not a whole lot to say about the history, I'd like to go in like kind of break by break in the story and kind of break
Yeah.
it down a little bit. But we'll explain the differences and the reasons why they're weird.
Okay.
Okay.
So then you guys don't hate me for my pathetic attempt at French. Raphael is the artist neighbor
Yes.
that she can see from her window, he can see from his window.
He's known as the glass man. He has a bone
Yes.
condition wherein his bones can break by even
Yeah.
just light contact. So all
Everything
of
in
his
his
furniture
apartment is padded.
is padded, and he paints because there's no contact. He can't
Right.
hurt himself that way.
Right.
But he watches her through binoculars, and she watches him through a spyglass.
So on the stage, that actor also plays Collignon, which is the grocer.
Oh.
At least that's from the breakdown I pulled. So that you know what I mean, because they're never in the same scene twice.
Yeah.
And then we've got Raphael, which is Amelie's father, the
Mhm.
germaphobe.
Mhm.
He was a doctor in the army, right? Or this in the
Mhm.
war or something like that.
Mhm.
And here we go, French. Bretaudeau? Bretaudeau.
You're looking at me.
that's
My
the
5 years
guy-
of French were not
Okay,
conversational.
but that's the guy that used to live in the apartment. That's the guy that gets the box. So Amelie's father plays that guy too.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then we have Amandine, which is Amelie's mom, neurotic, and she also plays Philomene, the stewardess.
Okay.
Suzanne is the cafe. I put cafe bar owner because on stage it looks like a cafe. In the movie, they mention that it's a bar.
Yes.
And
or it's
yeah.
a cafe with a bar in it.
Okay.
I can't figure it out.
But it does not, like in the movie, it looks like more of the type of place where you could sit down and have a pint. And on stage, it looks like you're getting a
a
patty
coffee
melt.
and a croissant.
Right. Yeah, and she was like she mentions that she used to be
She was an
she's a
ex-circus performer.
yes, and she
Who
dated
hurt
like a
herself
trapezist,
by
right?
getting she was a trapezist.
Mhm.
She got crushed by a horse.
Yeah, so she has a limp because of that, right?
Mhm.
Gina, Amelie's coworker, that's the one with the ex-boyfriend that stalking her. Like, so she's like a waitress, right? Yeah. And then her ex-boyfriend is always there in the cafe.
Every day up
Every
front
day.
and center spying on her.
Yeah.
In the movie, he has a tape recorder.
Yeah. Georgette, that's the cigarette girl.
Yes.
And she also plays on stage. She plays Collignon's mom, the grocer's mother. We have the blind beggar, who on stage also plays the garden gnome. And Hippolito is the poet, right?
Yes.
The poet in
the writer.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He also plays on stage Elton John. Yes, people, I said Elton John.
Guys,
I swear to God.
I'm already frowning.
Joseph is Gina's ex-boyfriend. He also plays Fluffy, the fish. Because remember, the fish is like, yeah.
Yep.
And he also plays Collignon's father. And then lastly, we have Lucien, who is the grocer's apprentice. He also plays the mystery man that is in all the photos.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Those are our characters.
Great.
Which ones do we like? We like Amelie. She's great. She's quirky. She's funny.
Are we talking about like in the movie?
Yeah. And yeah, that's true.
Okay. Here's the deal, guys.
All right, go. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's talk freely.
I want to break this down before we get any further.
We loved the movie.
Okay. We watched the musical first.
We did.
We understood nothing. We were just staring at each other the whole time. What is this?
We paused several times to try to talk to each other and say, like, what did we
Am
just
I the
see?
only one not getting this?
What just happened? Really confusing things. The Notre Dame thing, right?
Yeah.
We're like, what just happened? We saw someone falling from the sky.
Here's the thing too. It was a very weird choice. So in the movie, when her Mother is crushed. In the movie, it's a woman who just jumps off a building. But I think in order to lighten the themes of suicide,
they made it a big fat guy.
they made it like a guy in like an
suit.
inflatable fat suit with an I Heart Paris thing.
Yeah.
And I get it that they were trying to make it like quirky and fun, but yikes. And even then we were like, okay, so
Why?
she just got crushed. Okay.
Mhm.
And then I felt like the songs sounded very similar, so I was having a hard time discerning.
I'll cover that shortly.
Okay. And then they were all very long. There was minimal dialogue.
Yeah.
And I just could not figure out the story. And then 2 days later, I bring Amelie over and I have glowing reviews from people saying you're going to love this movie.
Yeah.
And for reference, the movie had 5 Academy Award nominations.
Including Best Picture.
Including Best Picture, Best Art Direction, Best Original Screenplay.
Huh.
It was
phenomenal.
big. Yeah. And we watched it and we were just dazzled.
Yeah.
Like it was so magical.
Start to finish.
It has that same kind of feeling as like it's an art house movie. It has like very cool cinematography.
Yep.
All the reds are very apparent, I
Mhm.
noticed, and it makes you feel very warm.
Yep.
And it has that same kind of thing that it's the same kind of controversy over this as was over Big Fish, where you have so many dazzling elements in the film that you can't recreate on a stage.
Because they're so magical on film.
Right.
And, yeah.
But especially this.
Yes.
Because I could not recommend the movie enough to you guys.
Right.
But the minute you finish that, you'll be like, this shouldn't be a musical.
Yeah, there's really nothing in it that would make you want. The fact that it's a charming story, I could get behind that. Like, oh, every charming story should.
The Princess Bride is a charming story, and I still don't have that musical.
Yeah, but that's the big thing is then you start to look at the hurdles that you would face. So, like, exactly the same thing. I'm making your point for you. Big Fish. You watch that movie and you're like, that was fantastic.
Yeah.
Let's make it a musical. And then you're like, okay, a mermaid, a lake.
Uh-huh.
Circus animals, elephants. You know, at what point do you stop and you go like, this can't.
And I will hand it to this show.
A giant,
exactly.
Right.
And you know what? Big Fish probably had more elements that were harder to recreate on stage. But I think at some point you're going to have a hard time recreating something with this much magic because the amount of money that it would take to make a set that's so intricate and so much larger than life that you could give people the same feeling
that you could pull it off.
Yeah, you wouldn't even make any money because at the end of the day, Amelie was still kind of a niche film,
of course.
And I don't know. I'm so distraught.
I know people that are dumb enough that they refuse to watch movies that aren't in English.
Yeah.
You know, so like.
Oh, that was a very important aspect of this too. And what's interesting is I will read you guys the reviews of this later, and they said the same thing. So the movie is in French with English subtitles, and it really gives you the feeling of being in Paris.
Yes, 100%.
Because we're so used to.
You hear accordion music and the underscoring. I mean, it's awesome.
You're just so used to, movies that take place in a European country or anywhere else in the world, and they're speaking English, and we're just like, oh, but it's. Look at them in Germany.
Right.
And this is very much like, okay, we are watching a life play out in France. And I really feel like making it an English-speaking musical took away that, like, I'm engrossed in a Parisian story.
Yep.
And that was just one thing of many that I didn't really like. Yeah. I feel like a lot of things really missed the mark. So we were talking about projections. There were projections in this.
Okay.
And the fact that Mark didn't remember that there were projections speaks to how much that they didn't use them to their advantage.
Right.
One of the projections that notably, so one of the small things that Amelie does is to make Hippolito, is that his name?
Yes.
He is an aspiring writer who is constantly trying to make one of his quotes catch on.
Right.
So Amelie goes out into the middle of the night and spray paints one of his quotes on the wall of a building.
Yeah.
That's one of the projections they use. As she is spray painting, the words are showing up in a projection on the wall.
It was something about trees and cognac.
It wasn't in the movie. That was a way different quote just for the musical.
Oh, okay.
It was if trees were dreams, cognac would be the sap.
Yeah.
Or something.
Uh-huh.
And that was not the quote from the. I don't even
No,
remember
the one from the
quote.
movie was really epic.
Well, yeah, it was very profound. Sorry, but we don't have that.
Yeah.
But so he sees it and he's all excited.
Right.
That was one of the ones I remember. The other one was when they were talking about the rule of halves.
Yeah.
And they spread out this like big red curtain, and her childhood self comes in and she starts talking about a math problem that she learned where it was like the rule of halves and people like meet each other halfway was essentially the point.
Right.
And it's talking about Amelie and her love interest trying to get close enough to
Right.
him and meeting each other halfway.
But you never meet if you keep subdividing by.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that was convoluted in and of itself.
Yeah.
And you just stop that song and you're like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, the songs are most of the songs. It's the Mean Girls thing, man. Where most of the songs they're worthless without the context of the show.
Mm-hmm.
And like that kind of is a bummer to me, man. Because I love when you're like, man, what a great song. Like, you know what I mean? You can take a song out of a show, sing it at a cabaret or something like that, and sing it at the piano, and,
Right.
and it's fun.
I would even go a step further with this though and say that maybe Mean Girls the musical, you watch it in the context of the musical and you still understand what's going on.
Well, that's that. Yeah.
Amelie,
Yeah.
if you don't watch the movie prior to
Yeah,
it,
we knew nothing.
you will understand jack shit
Yes.
of what is going on in this musical.
Here's the thing. I had the thought maybe we should watch the movie first, but then
I'm happy that we did this.
I had the afterthought of
Mhm.
no, because if I were in New York
Mhm.
and I saw a sign that said whatever this musical and I knew nothing of it, I love going like, what the shit is this? I'm gonna go find out.
I can't wait
and then
to hear
I come
the
out
story.
and I'm like, well, that was rad.
Yeah.
And it's happened to me before,
Mhm.
And this was not that.
Eh.
This was, if you don't have certain things, if certain level of knowledge of the story beforehand. The other time it happened, and this was my own damn fault. Are we having an earthquake? We're having an earthquake. Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
It's a pretty big one.
Whoa.
Wow. You heard it here first, people.
The gods are angry, guys. That's
Yeah,
how bad this
The
musical
gods
is.
are pissed off at Amelie, the musical.
Oh my gosh. I thought that was Logan walking.
No. It's still rolling.
Wow, thanks.
It's still rolling.
No, I thought you were.
Anyway,
Wow. I'm sorry.
So-
Hold on.
what was I
Ooh.
saying? The other, and this was my own fault. The other time that happened to me, where I walked in, knew nothing of the
Uh-huh.
story, and I walked out with like, God damn it, I should have educated myself before. Was Great Comet.
Oh.
And the problem was, and I remember someone telling me like, read up on the synopsis, and I was like, no, I like to just let the show take me somewhere. But there's so much information being thrown at you that like you can't process it fast enough. There's a goddamn family tree in the playbill of Great
Yes,
Comet because
I
it's
know.
because there's so many characters, and you're like, who's doing what to who now? And you're supposed to be like looking at your family tree. So it was an excerpt from War and Peace. That kind of makes sense to me. But a musical that was made from from a film, like it shouldn't be like that, man. It should be, you should be able to walk in, pay for your ticket, sit your ass down, be taken somewhere, see a cool story, and
To be fair, that was a much better received show.
Great Comment.
Yeah.
Well, it had Josh Groban in it.
Here.
I would have. It could have been the worst show ever. I would have still gone.
Philippa Sue was in that show too.
I didn't know that.
At a point, she was.
I don't know if I saw her.
Um,
but I saw the Grobes.
And
he's
here's the
fantastic.
thing. I don't dislike Philippa Sue. I think that she's
great in Hammy.
great in Hamilton. I've seen her in other performances. She was really good. This was a character that I felt like was very specific. And you get the feeling that it's being underplayed on the stage.
Yeah.
And I feel like in the movie, she is very reserved and to herself, but I think on stage, it needs to come off as more eccentric with the way that it's been written.
More eccentric or more quirky.
Either.
Yeah. But let's be real. This was a financial decision. They said, look, there's the girl from Hamilton. She will draw ticket sales.
She got an exorbitant amount of applause the minute that she hit the stage.
Yeah. She didn't even do anything. She pick something up off the ground and people
she
would cheer.
came out of the door and they were like, ah!
Yeah.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
I understand the draw, and she's talented.
She's
She's
a
not
great
one of those
voice.
like
Yeah.
celebrities that they throw in for fun.
No.
You know, I understand. And she didn't single-handedly ruin the show or anything.
No.
I just think that it's
Just that character had a little bit more charisma than what she presented on stage.
it just bringing in that element of I'm always living inside my mind. I'm a little bit socially awkward. She played it not as socially awkward as I felt like it should have been. Not so reserved, not so traumatized, really.
Yeah.
She was traumatized by her childhood.
I would agree with that.
And the one other thing that I didn't feel like came across is what she did for her father. So
that was
So here's what was very bizarre is the changing of the scenes and the bringing forward of the story was done in songs that were, I swear to God, 5 minutes long.
Yeah, the changing of the scenes bothered me.
So her father is obsessed with this gnome. He nurtures this gnome. He
makes a
this
shrine
gnome
to his deceased wife.
with a gnome that she hated. That was the
Correct.
point. This reminds me of my wife because she hated it.
Yes.
And Amelie gets tired of him only focusing on this gnome and not
Only
living
wanting
outside.
to stay home, only wanting to be in his garden.
She says, Dad, why don't you come visit me at work? And he's like, no, the gnome needs me.
Yeah.
So she's like,
So she steals it.
fuck this noise. I'm gonna what we found out from the movie was she gave
Sent
it
him
to
around the
her
world.
flight attendant friend.
Yeah.
And her flight attendant friend took Polaroids of the gnome in all areas of the world.
And she mailed them at it from wherever she was. So she's in the Netherlands. She took that photo and she sent it to him. And you know what I mean?
And from what I remember of the musical, we didn't actually see
I
the photos.
thought she stole it and sold it.
That's what I thought.
And I was like, what a bitch. Like it did not read at all. She just she handed it to this other woman and she goes like, take care of this.
Do you remember what I said to you? I was like, wait, isn't her dad like
Yeah.
really sad?
I was like, why would she do this to her dad?
Yeah, why isn't her dad like really sad? Like
Yeah.
what is she's like forcing him out of his house? Like this is sad.
Yeah.
And then you find out in the movie that it's actually really cute.
It's really cute, yeah.
Because he starts collecting all these pictures of his gnome traveling around the world and he doesn't know where they're coming from and he can't figure out why, but he's happy.
But he's happy because he thought it was stolen.
But in the show you're like, this bitch.
Yeah.
Why would you hurt your own dad like that?
Yeah.
And then the gnome finally comes back. And the fact, guys, that they made the gnome a character.
Yeah, that was Strugs, man.
There was this whole scene where he's dancing around with the flight attendant and talking about all the places that he's been, which is much less cute than just putting pictures of the gnome into different places.
I have beef with that. I was going to get to it when we got to the song, but my beef was in the movie, it's really charming because it's sparsed out.
Yes.
You know what I mean? He
all
gets
throughout.
He gets a postcard and he gets happy and then he thinks about it and he puts it up and then other stuff happens and then it happens again. And it's charming because it's a recurring thing.
And you see him collecting them little by little.
In the musical, and I understand the limitations of a musical, you have to do this. It's one single song talking about, look at all these places that we've gone to.
But it's a really weird thing because he's
dancing. It's in one moment, on the stage.
He's dancing. There's no indication that they're in anywhere different. It's just him and the flight attendant dancing.
Right.
And they're talking about all the places they are. And then her dad starts singing, but I want you home.
Yeah.
And you're like, ugh.
Yeah, it didn't play, man. Okay, so everybody knows we hate it. Let's do this. Let's do the song breakdown.
Okay.
So Times Are Hard for Dreamers prologue. Young Amelie and company. I thought it was really cute when it was just her. It was really, really, really cute. It gave us the young
Amelie was very talented.
Yeah. You can immediately tell she's unique. She mentions in that song, and I only got this context from listening to the cast recording because I couldn't get this when we watched the recording. It was too brief. She mentions at it, like the final statement of that song that her father's a germaphobe, but not enough for you to pick up on it.
No.
Okay. It doesn't land if you don't know the movie.
Right.
Then we have, I don't know if I should tell you this now or tell you. Okay.
No, just tell me.
We have World's Best Dad. Okay. This is young Amelie and her father.
Which, by the way, fades into the first one. I had no idea they were different songs. Keep going.
Okay. Well, it gives us the story of Pops being a doctor in the war, right?
Mm-hmm.
It tells us that he's not affectionate with Amelie at all, but she looks forward to her monthly checkups.
And then why her heart races.
When he holds her hand, even though he wears a glove when he holds her hand. It explains the parental fear that Amelie has the heart condition and that they want to shelter her from the outside world. So they homeschool her and they get her a fish to keep her company.
Right.
And again,
Who, by the way, is a person
yeah,
in the show.
Yes. So World's Best Dad goes into World's Best Friend. And this is young Amelie, her mom, and Fluffy, her fish. So she's getting homeschooled in this scene. She's not paying attention to her mother because she's singing to her fish. That is her best friend.
I
right?
didn't pick up on that.
A lot of this context I got from listening to the cast recording today. The mother gets mad and she grabs the fishbowl. Fluffy flies out, right? And then they decide he has to go and they drop him in the river, right? Okay. World's Best Mom. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Young Amelie and mother. Mom takes Amelie to Notre Dame after losing her fish.
Mm-hmm.
She gets crushed by someone who just jumped off the cathedral. Okay. Next song. Times are hard for dreamers. Did I already say that once? Times are hard for dreamers. Amelie setting off on her own, moving to Paris, realizing that she controls her destiny. It's a very, very pretty song. This is the one that you told me, like, this is a standalone. I can get an audition cut out of this. It is a very pretty song. It can be sung out of context.
And
here's the problem.
That one
I
is
just
which
gave you
song?
five song titles. 2 of them are the exact same title. 3 of them are World's Best. So that we heard 5 songs, we heard 2 songs.
Yeah,
so
but they're not. Guys, for context, these do not stop. There's no break in between.
I feel
them.
like there was the intention of making a musical decision that was like, look at how smart this is. Like we're doing an amalgamation of 3 songs, but no.
It comes off as a blob.
Really, really long blob of a song.
I swear, like 12 minutes.
I would venture maybe more.
Because each of these things drags on forever. And then at one point, I asked Mark, is this an all-sung show?
You did ask me that.
The answer is no, but pretty much.
But it didn't seem like it at that point.
Yeah.
Because it had been...
I was, and you know what, guys? I am all for an all-sung show. I love me some Evita. And what's another one where they sing all the way through?
Les Mis.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
Cool.
So... that was that. Our next song is The Commute. This narrates Amelie's day doing all the things that make her happy. So all those things that we see in the movie that you hear her inner monologue and she's like, I love when she puts her hand in seeds, she skips rocks and shit like that. That's this. They narrate it because there's no way to make it happen. Her inner monologue, unless you're doing like pre-recorded stuff, you know what I mean? So this is the chorus singing this. This company sings this song. And it narrates her day, all the things that make her happy, skipping stones, cracking the crust on creme brulee, right? All those things she mentions in her inner monologue. Then we have the bottle drops. This is the scene in the movie where the thing falls off, when it falls and it hits the tile and it cracks. They wrote that scene lyrically.
What?
Yeah, it didn't play, dude. Exactly. So this is...
Wait.
The bottle drops narrates Amelie's response to having heard of the death of Princess Diana. The scene in the movie where she drops the bottle lid and it rolls and it reveals the loose tile in her bathroom. It would have been impossible to recreate this on stage, so the song walks you through it. Verbally.
No.
Well, I'm telling you that it does.
You know what would have been... Okay, no, I'm not going to say
I shouldn't say it does. I should say it's supposed to.
I'm going to save this for what would have been better. But keep going.
Okay. 3 Figs. Christ almighty, this thing has a lot of songs okay. 3 Figs. This is Lucian. Lucian is the grocer's apprentice, right? The guy that the grocer keeps shitting on. He's singing
the grocer is not
song.
a nice guy, guys.
Yeah, the grocer sucks. So he's singing about figs. The song is catchy, but the lyrics are silly. It's a throwaway song for me.
He's singing about what in the movie?
The figs.
No, he's not singing about figs in the movie. Remember I said, oh, that's weird. They changed it to figs.
Oh, right.
He's singing about like something weird. It's something weird.
Right. So I felt like he was just trying to get Amelie's attention with the song, right? Did you have that feeling?
Yeah, but yeah, and what's weird is he's actually just like a very excitable, like eccentric guy.
Yeah.
That doesn't play. He just looks like a guy who loves figs.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, he can have a song, I guess.
It's very odd. So Amelie asked the grocer who used to live in her apartment. He says he doesn't remember. Go talk to my parents.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
Okay. The girl with the glass. So this is Raphael, the neighbor.
The painter neighbor.
The painter neighbor. It introduces us to him. This song introduces us to the neighbor. In the lyrics, he wonders why Amelie spends her nights looking out the window. Right?
Through a looking glass at him.
And so he sings about the girl with the glass in his painting, but metaphorically about Amelie.
The girl
And-
with the spyglass.
Correct. And then Amelie defends the girl in the painting
By
with
telling
her own
own
defenses.
story.
With her own defenses.
Right.
Right.
Which does not play.
And then it does not
Again,
play.
it does not play. We had no idea what
No.
he was talking
The
about.
entire time that they mentioned the girl with the glass, I thought it was Amelie with the spyglass.
Because
You can't see the painting. Like it's, you know what I mean? Like
you can't see the painting, and you don't get, so in the movie you get this connection of she's looking at him, he's looking at her.
Yes.
You can't do that on a stage.
No.
So
No.
you were
and
like,
because their doors on the stage, their doors were on the same plane. So how
Right.
could she look out her window into his apartment?
yeah, she was looking at the audience with
And
a
they
spyglass.
said that. He goes, "Oh, funny, you can see my apartment from yours, and I can see yours from mine." Well, our doors both face east, so explain to me how the fuck that works.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll give you the answer. It doesn't.
It doesn't. It was So, but at the end, he gives her the name of the old apartment tenants, Bretodu.
And I can't remember if
Bretodo.
this was that in the musical, but in the movie she was looking for the wrong one.
Yeah, well, someone had told her the name, but inverted the syllables.
Yes.
So instead of Bretodo, it was like
bra-
Bretoto
yeah.
or something like that. Yeah. Yeah. So he tells her how to tell time. The next song, that's Amelie and Bretodo. He opens the box and remembers the contents. It's not nearly as magical as it is in the movie. She just calls him and says, like, look down.
Yeah, here's how it happens in the movie. I'm gonna set the scene for you because it was my favorite scene.
Yeah, it was really, really.
So every day he goes to the farmer's market and buys himself a chicken.
Mhm.
And it talks about how the things that he likes to do with the chicken,
Yeah.
how he likes to pick out certain parts of the chicken and eat those, and like what he makes with it.
Mhm.
And so she has an understanding of his routine. So when he's passing by the marketplace, the narrator comes on and he said, every day he buys a chicken, but not today. And you hear the phone booth that he's passing by start to ring. He stops. Why is this ringing? He
looks
walks
around, is like, if
Yeah.
there's anybody expecting a call.
Yeah. He walks in, he answers, and she immediately hangs up.
Yes.
And he's looking around the phone booth like, what just happened?
Yeah.
And sees the box.
Yeah.
And he grabs the box, he opens it, and he starts to cry.
Yes.
Allie starts to cry.
Yeah.
Mark starts to
Yeah.
cry. And we're like, what the hell?
Yeah. It was really
I had
powerful.
no idea.
Yeah.
This is what kicked it off, because when I was reading the back of the DVD, it said there's this woman, her life changes and she starts to do small magical things for people. And I'm like, really?
Yeah.
That's the premise? I had no idea. And I had seen the musical.
Yeah.
So you're watching that and you're like, okay. So she had said in bed, if this goes well, if this is received well,
I'm going
to be a do-gooder.
Yes.
So after that, he's like, she overhears him he came into her bar afterwards.
Yeah.
And he starts
orders a
talking to the
cognac.
bartender. And he said, the most amazing thing just happened to me today. It must be my guardian angel.
Yeah.
They called me.
Yeah.
And so she's just moved by this and she starts to do small things for other
Yeah.
people.
The other really cute thing was when she took the blind man around
Oh,
and like described all the things that she
Did
was
that
looking
happen
at.
in the show?
Yeah. It just
I
didn't play.
hate the fact that I have to even ask that.
Yeah,
I feel so
yeah,
bad.
no,
Guys,
well, here
guys,
we
I
go.
just watched this 3 days ago and I never looked away. I swear.
Yeah. It's
Okay.
it's yeah.
Yeah, keep going.
It falls
Because this
flat,
was
man.
very cute.
So Tour de France, it's the next scene. So Amelie walking the blind beggar around explaining the sights. It's a cute song. I just think at that point I was already put off by the vibe of the musical. Like honestly, like
Someone who loves Amelie is going to be like, fuck this podcast.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, it did sound better when I listened to it again. I remember that, but it was still just like way more magical in the film.
Yes.
Goodbye, Amelie. This is Amelie and Elton John.
Which also didn't happen in the movie.
No. So Amelie dreams of her death and Elton John singing to her. Okay. And I think this is a spoof of Elton John singing Candle in the Wind to Lady Di.
No, I hate it.
Why else would it be Elton John?
Okay.
And why else would it be a dream sequence of her death?
I fully agree with you. I had
It's
no
just-
idea. Oh, you know what it came off to as me?
That's a
as me.
big
Do you know what it came off to as me?
Yeah.
Do you know what it came off as to me?
Yeah.
What I thought was happening was Elton John appeared in her imagination to motivate her. And I was like, why? But that one that didn't happen in the movie. And
also the title, Goodbye, Amelie. It's a candle in the wind. It is. That's what it is.
I agree with you. I'm just saying that I don't like it.
It's the same. So it did not play.
It was also a poorly done Elton John.
It was a very poorly done Elton John.
It was like a
it was like a
total
half Elvis. Half.
It was like an offensive Elton John.
Yeah. So yeah, it didn't play. I got more context of it honestly from listening to the cast recording.
Yeah,
but,
I mean, same. When I re-listened to these, I picked up on words that I did not hear.
This was the moment where I don't remember if you or I said this, like, this musical needs to pick a lane, right? Because we were like, this thing is right in this moment, it's trying to be slapstick funny, right?
They were doing that so much.
And then in other moments, it's trying to be a rom-com.
It's
I
trying
got
to be
the feeling
a
like
whimsical drama, and then they kept putting in jokes that didn't land, and I was like,
Stop.
if you want to be a
comedy.
parody, a comedy version of Amelie, fine. But if you want to mimic the magic that we're seeing on screen, you're doing an awful job of this.
Yeah. Because honestly, I kept thinking to myself, the lane they should have gotten into, and I think I told you this, was John Cusack rom-com. That's the lane they should have gotten into. That, like, just charming, you know, all of the jokes that they tried to
like
do.
a John Hughes movie.
Yeah.
I agree.
So then we have Backyard. So this is Amelie and her father.
The gnome.
Amelie asking her father to leave home. He doesn't want to because of the garden gnome shrine to his wife. She steals the gnome. We already explained it does not play on stage. I thought that she sold it, but in fact
she was a huge bitch.
Yeah, she had a scheme. Okay, so when the booth goes bright, this is Nino, the guy with the photo book, right? He's singing of his obsession with the moment that, like, the photo booth captures an image. The moment that the photo booth flash steals is what that song's about. And it's just kind of I don't think it's expository. I think it's just kind of there to explain, like, how obsessed he is with photos. And again, can't be taken out of the show. It's just a weird song that doesn't make sense.
Also, important, but Nino goes around to many different photo booths in many different stations.
That didn't play.
And he finds a picture of the same man in each photo booth, which I did not understand because they just started to sing about the enigma of the man.
Well, first of all, it was hard to know that they were different photo booths on stage.
It looked like the exact same photo booth. So it looked like he kept coming back, and then all of a sudden he kept finding the picture of the same guy, which, I mean, like, whatever, I guess is fine. But I feel like they could have done more to differentiate the different stations.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I'll move on.
Yeah.
Sister's Pickle. This was not in the movie. And it was, but not like this. Why was she in a nun's habit?
Okay.
So I'm gonna tell you let's set the scene and then we'll yell at it. This is Amelie wanting to give Nino back his book. She knows he works in this sex shop. She goes to the sex shop with the book, but she's scared.
They preface it. They preface it with something talking about nuns, and I can't remember what the exchange was.
They did. Well, no. They said Amelie goes into a costume shop. So is it to disguise herself so that she doesn't know who he is, so that he doesn't know who she is?
In the movie, it was Zorro.
No, not in that scene.
Not in that scene, but that's why she goes into a costume shop.
Right.
And for some reason, this is the first time that she's ever even trying to take it back to him. So in the movie, she walks in just as herself, but he's not working there. He's working at a carnival. So she ends up leaving and to take it back to him.
So one of the coworkers like, he's not here. I'll give it to him. And then she's like, no, I'll take it to him.
I'll take it to the fair.
And she goes to the fair.
But in this one, she dresses up as a nun and walks into the sex shop.
She walks into a sex shop. I don't get it. She, in the song, she lyrically describes that she's in a sex shop, which I just thought was, like, super cheap. Like, I just like really, dude,
like,
you're that star
we
for
can
lyrics.
decipher it from the many sex toys we see on the shelves.
Exactly.
I hate that.
Yeah, I don't like when songs
spoon feed me.
Yeah, that's exactly what I hated about it. I'm like, I have situational awareness from, like, what I'm looking at. Like, you don't need to tell me. Yes, exactly. That's exactly what I was.
That's what this whole show does, by the way. I couldn't put it into words how I felt as a whole, but I feel like this tried so hard to spoon feed you mass amounts of information, stuff you can see and stuff you can't see.
Yeah.
And it should have just stuck with the stuff you can't see.
Yeah.
Because it was so much information.
It didn't.
Keep going.
Yeah. Okay. Halfway. This is the half measure song that you're talking about. She explains the concept that if you don't like large tasks, you can subdivide into half measures, but you'll never actually finish anything because you can always subdivide into half.
Which
into half.
I thought was a very convoluted concept. And
Well, it's a real concept.
I
I've heard it
understand, but
explained before,
but it's just it felt like this
it's
weird
hard to
overarching.
explain it in a song.
But it's just a weird overarching metaphor for what was going on. Like, why did
Yeah.
you need that? Oh, when I was a kid, I learned about this one math problem, even though we never even stuck to my homeschooling for longer than 2 seconds in the beginning.
Yeah.
And then you're going to call back to it. You know what it felt like? It felt like they were trying to give the young actress more stage time. And that was very apparent to me.
Okay.
Because they made her conscience.
Yeah.
Which they didn't do in the movie. So she would appear on stage, like when Lady died, she'd be like, you gotta like live outside your shell. And I'm like,
Okay. Window seat. This is Amelie, Gina, and Gina's husband. Okay, so this is what we were talking about. The movie scene where Amelie forges a letter to Gina to give her closure on her missing husband. Plays way better in the film. This is just like the other song where it's spoon-fed to you lyrically.
Also, Gina's the waitress, right?
No, Gina's the one with the missing husband. The forged letter that she like cuts up the letter.
Wait, what's the name of the waitress?
Girl, you're killing me. Waitress.
Gina. It says Amelie's coworker.
Oh, yes.
It's a different character in the movie.
It is a different character in the movie.
That's what
why,
confused me.
Yes, that's what it is.
They made it the waitress, which doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Because she
it's-
also has
it's
that
her neighbor.
stalker. She also has that stalker boyfriend and a missing husband.
Yeah. That is really upsetting.
It's so weird, guys.
Yeah, yeah. I can't believe I'm still listing song names, dude. Like I seriously, I can't. There's no place like Gnome. This is Gnome and Amelie's Pops, the scene of the recurring photos of the gnome from all over the world.
And the stewardess.
Yeah, it's kind of cute, but you know, the magic of the film making it happen as a recurring joke, I think is just way funnier. Yeah. And then
Also-
but it ends with Pops coming to visit Amelie in Paris.
Can I say too? He doesn't do that in the movie. I don't think he ever leaves. I remember
Not till the
watching out
end.
for that.
Not till the
Yeah.
end. Yeah.
But
because we said $3, 2 bags, 1 me when we saw him with his 2
Yeah.
bags.
So here's what I think would have been way cuter than giving the gnome a song, or even if you wanted to give the gnome, if you have to. I think you could have used those projections to your advantage and taken a picture of the actor who plays the gnome in front of different.
Yes. 100%. Yes.
Give me the
That would have
magic.
been so cute. Because they're supposed to be postcards anyway, or not postcards, but like it's supposed to be pictures that come through the mail.
The amount of time that you see people looking at something on stage that you can't see is so frustrating.
Yeah.
The amount of time she's reading a letter or doing something and you just have to trust that it's what you think it is frustrating.
Okay, so Thin Air. This is Nino. He's tired of the games. He wants to know who the mystery girl is. He posts signs all over the city trying to get a clue. The song is pretty. It's different from the movie because in the movie she comes like through like a metro station and she starts seeing the signs everywhere, right?
Mhm.
And she goes nuts and she like pulls them
Which
down. and stuff.
in the musical, I believe, don't they just say "Who are you"?
No, yes.
And in the movie,
it says when and where.
Yeah, because she had given him a picture, and on the back of it, it says, do you want to meet me?"
Right.
She dresses
And-
up like Zorro, takes a picture in a photo
Yeah.
booth, puts it in his photo book before she returns it to him.
Yeah.
And they're on the phone and she says, flip to
Page whatever.
page whatever. And he flips to it and it says, "Do you want to meet me?"
Yeah.
And he starts posting posters everywhere saying where and when.
Yeah. Hey, guess what? There's more songs.
Oh,
Blue
way.
Arrow Suite.
What?
Blue Arrow Suite. This is Amelie.
Oh my God. I just remembered.
Instructed Nino to come to the cafe, but she's getting scared as the hour nears. I already said this.
Yeah.
Where this reminds me of Mean Girls, where the songs are
This-
like okay, but they're not good,
This also
and they
didn't,
can't be used outside of the show.
this also didn't land. When she took him on this wild goose chase around this one area to try to find her, she puts blue arrows on the floor.
Mhm.
She writes them in chalk on
Yeah.
the ground. And then
It's such a cute
yeah,
scene in the
so
movie.
he's running, he's looking, and then there's a mannequin who's a person. It's not a mannequin, it's a statue
It's
who's a person
yeah,
pointing. And this little kid comes up and he said, "Only a fool looks at the finger who points at the sky." Because
Yeah.
he looks straight up,
right.
but he looks at like one of those little like viewfinder things
It's a telescope.
in the park.
It's a- yeah,
Mhm.
telescope.
So he goes up and he looks back and he sees her
At his moped.
and
Holding the
she's
book.
waving it
Yeah.
and he goes, "Wait there." And of course,
She doesn't.
Amelie being Amelie doesn't, but she puts the book into his bike
Saddlebags,
pouch.
yeah.
Mhm. And she calls him. And that's when she says, "Flip to this page."
Right. And it's so adorable.
It is so adorable.
It's like so charming.
But in the musical,
it
you get
does
so
not-
annoyed
it
with
does
this
not
girl.
play. Okay. This is gonna be a French one. The late Nino Cancampoix, I believe. Cancampoix. This is Amelie in the chorus. Again, the magic of the movie can't be recreated on stage. So they explain like the quirky ways that she wonders of all the bad things that could have potentially happened to
Because
him
he's 10 minutes
because
late
he's
to
10
meeting
minutes
her at
late.
the cafe.
So it's an inner monologue in the movie. And she's just like, oh, maybe he, stopped to tie his shoe. And then while he was tying his shoe, he got hit by a bus and then he had to go to the hospital.
And
But
then
then
he
the
was
hospital
taken
was
as
on
like
fire.
a-
And yeah.
Like a hostage.
Yeah.
by-
Yeah. And
Mhm.
it's her mind going nuts because she's neurotic, but it doesn't play. And the only way that they can do it is through lyrics.
Yeah,
So the chorus sings it lyrically.
They try to substitute any magic you feel in the film with a song.
Yeah. Because guess what?
Everything.
Because guess what? There's more. Yeah. A better haircut. Swear to God. Gina,
wait.
Suzanne, Georgette, Nino. This is the ladies at the cafe vetting Nino to make sure that he would treat Amelie well. Remember this before?
Which he goes with Gina on a walk.
Yes.
in the movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
So at this point, I just kind of wanted the show to be over. But when they believe him, they give him her phone number and address, I believe.
And then he
Or-
goes up to meet her at
And
the
then he
house.
goes up
But
to meet her.
guys, this is so cute because she just never shows up. She doesn't tell him to meet her again. He just shows up, right? And then
Uh-huh.
she finds out that he was there or something.
Yeah.
And in the movie, Gina was like, "You were here for Amelie," and then she takes him on a walk. And I thought something that was really cute was she was like, "I'm gonna make sure that you're not crazy."
Yeah.
And then she starts
She's
having
asking
him
him
finish Proverbs.
Yeah.
And he goes, "What's the significance of this?" And she said, "Well, in my family, we say a man who knows Proverbs can't be all bad."
Yeah.
And that was it,
Yeah.
really. Like they
Yeah.
were chatting a little bit, and that was it.
Yeah,
And that
it
was really cute.
It was cute.
And then I can't remember how does he get her address? From her neighbor?
She's from her. Wait. What are we talking? Movie or stage?
Movie.
From Gina.
From Gina still.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Her neighbor, though, in the movie, so Amelie is still like very afraid to see him. And her neighbor makes her a videotape that he gets like the grocer to sneak in because the grocer has the key to everyone's apartment.
Yes.
So he lets himself in and he drops off the videotape made by the glass man, and the glass man is telling her like, you have to live your life and you have to like open your heart to these things and blah blah. And it's so cute.
It is.
And finally she goes and she like rushes for the door and she opens it and he's there.
He's there.
And that's how that happens. On stage.
On stage, they
it's
make us
so
wait 17 minutes.
frustrating. It's an unending song of "Don't leave,
They're on.
don't leave. We're so close to the door.
You,
We're so close to the door."
you just reminded me of like an old R&B song that I love. But no, they're on opposite ends of the door.
Mark and I were both like, I would
and
have left.
I was like, I want this to be over.
Mark
they
was like,
see-
I would have left.
Yeah.
He's like, you know what I would do if a girl was like, "Don't leave," and it's been 5 minutes? I would have just left.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah. So
She's
more
so
songs.
annoying.
Stay. Right. This is Amelie and Nino. They're singing on opposite ends of the door. The scene seemed interminable to me, like the rest of the freaking show. Nice melody, I suppose, but I didn't care at this point. I was burnt out. And then guess what we have? Halfway reprise.
I don't even remember the first one.
This mixes halfway and the song before, Stay. This mixes the two ideas so that the song could go on for even longer, so that she could keep him waiting outside for even longer.
You know what? That was the part where I was like, I wish they'd have a long song again because I'm really missing that.
Right.
I feel like such an asshole. Like,
Girl.
is there more songs?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where do we go from here? Amelie takes him to the out of order photo booth because she knows that the repairman is coming. So
We
the
could end the
repairman
show.
is the
That's where
mystery
we could
man.
go from here.
This is the we can end the fucking show. Okay, so the scene was cute. The song was okay.
Yeah.
I guess I was just happy it was over.
I didn't
but
understand. Okay, I did not understand this until I
the
watched the
repairman
movie.
thing. No, we didn't get that. We didn't
So
get that.
here's the thing, guys. This is what I was talking about before. The enigma of the man in the photos was something that Nino was infatuated with because he would collect these pictures and mostly all of them were of this man.
Same
And
dude.
he couldn't figure out why this man had pictures discarded around the city.
And torn up.
Yeah. So Amelie finds out that he is the repairman upon exiting a photo booth one day when he was doing like a checkup on it.
Yeah.
And so she sends a message to Nino and she says, meet me at such and such station at 5 p.m.
And then she breaks the photo booth.
She jams it. She calls and she said, I think one of your photo booths is jammed. It's here. She hides from several hundred yards away and she watches through binoculars
Yeah.
as Nino is
sitting in the photo booth waiting for her.
No, he's approaching and he sees a man with red shoes in the photo booth fixing it.
Right.
He opens the
That's
curtain
right.
and he's like, and the guy's like, oh, I'm about done. But he's just like staring at this guy like so
See,
insane.
it's backwards on stage. On stage, Nino's in the photo booth. The repairman comes down and Nino comes out of the
It
photo.
actually happens.
Yeah.
This is actually what happens in the show because I remember it being so bad. She and he are already together. So this happens at the very end.
Yeah, they're together.
It
and they
says out of order
Yeah.
on the photo booth.
Uh-huh.
So she calls first. He shows up to fix it, and then comes out and he's like, "Okay, it's ready."
And he like takes.
And then they go in the booth and shut themselves in there.
That's right. Yes.
No,
No.
thanks.
No.
I did not understand it
Yeah, it didn't
at
quite.
all.
We forgot to mention though, probably the most charming thing in the movie
The grocer.
when she fucks with the grocer.
Okay, they did not do this in the stage musical, which I think was a mistake because it's so much more charming than a lot of the other things. The letter thing didn't.
So the grocer's a dick. The grocer's a dick to Lucian, his apprentice.
And he's mean. It doesn't show that, but he's just like, he berates this kid all the time.
Yeah.
And Amelie likes Lucian.
Yeah.
So she, one day is passing by the grocer's apartment and she noticed that they live in the same building, FYI.
He forgot his keys.
He forgot his keys in the door. So she goes up with full intent of returning his keys as one of her good deeds, but she sees him berating Lucian instead. So she instead takes the keys to a key shop, gets another one cut, and then returns his keys to him.
Yeah.
But she has a key herself.
Yes.
So she sneaks in and she does just like the most inconvenient things. She puts salt in his whiskey.
She swaps his toothpaste and his foot cream.
She changes the doorknob so that it's reversed.
So that like the round knob side is on the opposite side and the lever side is on
She shorts out his lamp. She replaces his slippers,
his slippers
with the same pair.
smaller size. Same exact pair but smaller size.
So guys, the break of this is just so funny because he just starts to slowly lose his mind.
Yeah.
And there was this one scene where he calls psychiatric care and he's like, no, I don't want to do this. He's like, he's like, I'm just gonna drink.
Yeah.
And then the last thing that he finds out is that as soon as he pours a drink and he takes a sip, it's salty.
She salted his
and
whiskey. She
just breaks him.
He spits it straight at the camera. It's awesome.
It's amazing.
Yeah, that was, I think it was my favorite thing. Oh no. Remember at the beginning when the little girl was she was fucking with the guy that lied to her? So he lied to her about something. I don't remember.
Dad.
Was that her dad?
Mm-hmm. So she was told by her father.
That's right. It was her dad. Yeah.
She was told by her father that her taking pictures on her new camera that she got for Christmas causes car accidents because one happened right in front of her, just like
when she was taking. Yes.
So then she started watching all of these stories on the news, and she's like, "I took so many pictures today. I did all these things." Then she found out that wasn't true.
Right.
So she starts to play. She does this thing where
she goes up on the roof.
A long time ago, you could
Well, a long time ago, when televisions had a wired antenna, there was a big wired antenna on the roof, and that fed to like all of the the units.
So she would listen to the game.
She's listening to the same game that her father's watching on TV, and right when the announcers is soccer, everybody's heard soccer announcers. As they get louder, that means they're getting closer to taking a shot.
Every time something of significance would happen,
she
would yank it.
She would yank the cable,
and her dad was just losing his mind. It was awesome.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
The other thing that didn't play for me was we mentioned how Gina is the same person as the lady who gets the letters. In in the movie, it's not like that. So this is the last thing I have beef with. In the movie, it's a downstairs neighbor that
Right.
she just so happens to meet. And she was receiving these like letters from her husband 40 years ago. And then I guess he decided to leave her.
Yeah.
Which is what I got from
She
it.
just stopped
She
getting
just
letters.
stops getting them and she's like, he doesn't love me.
Right.
And then, so Amelie decides that she took a bunch of letters from this woman's apartment and she cut some up and pieced them together Frankenstein style into something that showed that her husband still loved her.
Mm-hmm.
So she receives a letter from him 40 years later.
Yeah.
And it affirms
Gives her
that
closure.
it gives her closure, and then she goes back to not hating him every day.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen in the show. She did read a letter at the end, but you were like,
I told you
why?
It happened lyrically but
but it didn't.
It doesn't play.
But I didn't even get that. I was just like, why
exactly.
is she all of a sudden reading a letter? Okay.
Yeah. You ready for accolades? There's so many accolades. Tony nominations, none.
Great.
We have 1 Drama League Award, Distinguished Production of a Musical, nominated, did not win.
Did it say what one?
I didn't. I normally have to do a subsequent search, and I forgot
fine.
to. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I can't believe you.
2020 Olivier Awards. These are pending. These haven't happened. It has a Best New Musical nom. It has a Best Actress in a Musical nom, and it has a Best Score or New Orchestration.
But
nom.
this is the European production, which I have to say, I like the actress who's playing Amelie on the West End, and from what I saw in the trailer,
yeah,
it
did look better.
It looks like they fixed it, and she looks so much like screen Amelie.
Yeah,
that I think she.
Well, it's hard.
We saw her in Grinning Man, and she's good at playing these kinds of characters.
She's a phenomenal singer.
Phenomenal singer.
Yeah,
and I really feel like, I'm excited to give it another go if they release it, because instead of bringing in young Amelie, they use a puppet.
Yeah.
Which is a lot more whimsical. And if they did the magic that they did with Grinning Man, that transported me.
Insane.
But because that theater already has experience bringing in larger than life dream sequences, that I think that this is going to do better in that atmosphere.
Yeah, I agree.
But I'm not holding my breath.
I'm really scared to ask this question. How do you improve this show?
Okay. We already said, I think, all of these things that...
Definitely the use of screens. It needs it.
I think you could have projected so much more. All the pictures, all the notes.
Yeah, the notes could have been projected. That would have been really, really cool.
I think
you need more than one
in
photo
the
booth.
Loving Gaze, you know what I think would have been really interesting is if they had a close-up of her eyes and his eyes in this pink haze.
Okay.
In a projection. Where you really see the weight of this connection that they have in the moment.
Yeah.
Also, I thought it was really dumb where he was like, she looks like she has a secret.
Yeah.
And then in the porn shop later, she was like, oh. She said like she had a secret. She looked like she had a secret. And he was like,
it must be
wait, it's the Metro girl.
Yeah.
No, dumb.
Yeah,
Bye.
It was very dumb. Yeah, I think there needs to be more than one photo booth, or at least, a green one and a blue one, like something. So,
change the scene for a second.
Yeah.
If you're going to put so much effort into this, change the scene. Because even if they would have brought in something that signified that it was a train station and not just a random photo booth on the sidewalk, that would have gone a little bit better too, because it looks like he frequents the same photo booth over and over and over again.
You know what else cheesed me off royally? And it was such a minor thing, but when she met the artist neighbor, they came in through the door. We're in his apartment for I think I could count 4 to 6 seconds, and then they dropped the background drop of his apartment. I swear to God. Did you notice that? So that there was a drop of doors, because it's supposed to be like flats, right?
Yes.
Like door. So there's a drop of doors. They walked in through one. I think it was the second one.
And then they just kept the doors there.
And then they walk in, close the door, and then they were there for 6 seconds, and then a drop came down that had all his paintings on it. And I was like, "Oh, here comes my apartment. Don't let it bonk you on the head." That really cheesed me off. It was like, for real, dude? That was a solid 6 seconds later, you dropped the scene for this? Yeah, I thought that was bad. Yeah. So, I mean, do we like it? Do we hate it?
I'm sorry, but here comes my apartment. It's just so...
it played like, man? I was just, I can't believe you didn't notice. I didn't want to say anything. I was in so much pain that day anyway. I was.
Here comes my apartment. I don't know why that's so funny. It's so warm.
Do we like it or do we hate it?
I loved it.
Yeah,
I thought it was the best musical.
It was really, really good.
Guys, I
do you
really
want to
didn't like
do you
it.
want to
I'm so
review
sorry.
it again in 2 weeks for your birthday?
Oh, by the way, do you want to hear some reviews?
Please, yes. Hit me with those reviews.
Okay, so The Guardian called it a creme brulee of a musical, sweet but ultimately bland. And I have to say, I just think it was ultimately bland.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. The New York Times called it easy to listen to, but never really sings.
Yeah.
Remarking also about how the change from French to English stripped it of any discernible nationality. And I have to say that I agree.
That's, yeah.
Because they said, summing up the movie, they called it très français,
Right.
which very French.
Yeah.
Again, sorry about my pronunciation.
Sure.
But and then they said it took away all charms of it
Mhm.
being a Parisian art house.
Yeah.
Story.
I agree.
Variety said Philippa Soo is a wonderful English-speaking Amelie, but the music is a poor substitute for the cinematic loop-de-loops of the film.
Yeah.
And I took that to mean any sort of magic or discernible plot point
Yeah. Was stripped.
was stripped from this.
Yes.
The music was a poor substitute for a story, is
Yeah.
what I think.
Yeah,
of
I
this
agree.
Show. And so that might sound cutting, but Mark and I are big fans of any musical, and we can normally find a lot of very positive points.
We normally do. I mean, like, I have to say, I was talking to Sophia yesterday, which is a mutual friend of Allie and I's, and I mentioned to her, I was like, it's usually Allie's the one that's like, Mark, shut it off. This is a bag of shit, right? And then I'll always be like, come on, girl, we're already halfway through it. We're gonna
but
watch
I'm
it.
right.
And no, when you say it's a bag of shit, it always is
Because
a bag of shit.
I enjoy so many shows.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I really do.
But and so usually I'm the one trying to find that redeeming factor, like the bit. Okay, like the show sucked, but it had that really bitchin' song or whatever, like that.
And to be fair, for this, I would never cut a show short. If we
Of
have to
course
review
not.
one,
Of course not. The last time
sure.
she wanted me to cut a show short was when we
Fame.
were before. It was like it was still Rona.
And to
but
be
it was
fair,
before we started doing.
to be
this
fair,
show.
I will even say, as much as I detest Fame, at least I was watching dancing.
Yeah. Agreed.
I mean, that's not a very good
Yeah.
pop, but at least
No.
things were happening, and I understood the story, even if it was a bad story.
Yeah.
I understood the story. I understood the characters,
Yeah.
and it wasn't a convoluted mess.
I agree. So
Sorry if you hate me, guys. I know this is really early into it
No,
to feel this
honestly,
strongly about a show.
for the sake of our, the
It had to
democratic
happen.
process here, it had to happen.
It had to happen. We've done so many bangers.
Yeah,
The
we
past,
really have.
guys, the past 5 episodes at this point that you'll hear.
And I think I mentioned this before. I get the feeling that if I were to look at a podcast like from Genesis and it was our lineup, I would be like, I wouldn't believe that those things happened randomly. And I swear to you, they happened randomly. Like we picked the 14, we spun the wheel,
Yeah.
and they happened randomly.
But this is proof that we do that.
Yeah.
Because we did. And I was excited for this.
Yeah.
I wanted to like it. I wanted to like it. I love Philippa Soo. I
remember not watching it only because I ran out of days in the city.
Yeah, I like watching shows where I don't know what they are.
Yeah, me too.
And this was just a big disappointment. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I mean, if you could, I know it sounds like we're being cutting, but you could easily watch the show and think that we're stupid and full of shit for
Yeah.
not liking it.
Yeah.
Everybody has a different experience, and that's okay. But
Yeah.
I was greatly. What just infuriated me more is Mark and I have a list of so many movies that just 100% could translate to the stage so well, and then something like this gets made, and we're just like,
Yeah.
why?
Yeah.
Sad. But looking forward to giving this another try on the West End because I like what Bristol Old Vic does with their puppetry.
Yeah. I
So
agree.
yeah.
So that's it.
5 the curtain.
Thank you, 5. So guys, in lieu of a spin this week,
Ellie's birthday's coming up.
yeah, October 3rd, Mean Girls Day.
So we thought it would be nice to let her pick what we do for that week, right?
Yes.
Are we gonna publish it on your birthday, or are we gonna record on your? What are we
it's
doing?
gonna end up hitting October 6th, I believe.
Okay,
So
but that will be your birthday.
I think we could try to but we'll make it we'll make an announcement about it. But the show that I have selected is Next to Normal.
I thought it was gonna be Starmites, man.
Okay, I had a whole list of things that I was looking at, like these esoteric musicals, and in the 80s they had this show called Starmites. Google it,
Or don't.
and it is just like, so, I'm not even gonna like spoil it because I know at some point we're gonna end up.
We're gonna
like,
get there.
you're gonna
Yeah,
get there.
yeah.
But it was between that, Starlight Express, and then like a show that I've actually seen. Because I am so morbidly curious about Starlight Express. For those of you who don't know, it's the Andrew Lloyd Webber classic.
Choo-choo trains and roller skates.
It's essentially the story of the little engine that could, Cinderella. And it feels like Cats, except that they're all anamorphic trains. And it's the most 80s thing that you're going to hear.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it really is.
And they're all
And
on roller
C,
skates.
like all the costuming too is just like super
Yeah.
80s. There was one guy that looked like a transformer.
It's great.
Yeah. So yeah,
So I
Next to
picked,
Normal.
I picked Next to Normal
had a girl.
because Natalie is a dream role of mine.
Okay.
And I love the themes of the show. I think that it's a very important subject, especially now, the subject of mental health. And I like the way that it tackles it and makes, this very real struggles that people go through very digestible to audiences who may not understand. And I'm really excited to cover this one.
All right.
So stay tuned. Next week, we're covering Next to Normal.
Sounds
and
good.
we like that show. So it'll be like a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Okay. How do these people find us?
So follow our socials as always. We're on Instagram at Not Another Musical. Made a Facebook page, Not Another Musical.
Did you?
Yes.
Had a girl.
Or I will by the time.
Oh my God.
By the time they listen to it, it will be up.
Okay.
And then YouTube's Not Another Musical. Thank you so much to Lucid Studios for making this podcast possible. And we will see you guys next week. Thank you so much for listening.
Yeah.
Sorry. So sorry.
Yeah, next week will be a good one.
Yes, I agree.
Okay.
Because I chose it.
Nice. So.
Okay, guys. That's a wrap on Amelie.
We'll see you at the cast party.
Bye.